my main work is I go and give workshops telling people how to use AI. The level of knowledge out there is still very low. If you are sitting watching, me, some British dude on Monday morning chatting about AI on TikTok, that tells me that you already know more than 99% of the people out there, anyone who is on this live, because your social media is showing you educational content about AI instead of, I don't know, Roblox clips or sexy ladies. You've got me instead, sorry. So anyone here, anyone on the live, anyone who follows me generally has a much higher, I know that you have a much higher level of AI sophistication than 99% of the people out there. So it's actually important that you take that knowledge and you go and help people in your industry. So you're putting together an innovation club. So helping people upskill and launch new businesses. Really, that's really cool. If you are, so not Techaroy, but other people, if you are, for example, if you work in the education sector, for example, and you use AI and you're using it every day, then I think you have an obligation to go and help other people in the education section work out how to do this. If you work in medical, if you work in accountancy, if you work in admin, whatever your sector is, if you are using these tools and it's saving you a lot of time and you are using them safely, then it's important for you to go and teach other people. The reason is there are so many people who are either ignoring this technology because they're scared of it and they think it is too hard, it's too technical, which is not the case. If you can use WhatsApp, you can use ChatGPT. So they're scared of it. So you can go in and say, hey, it's not that scary. You should probably be using this, and you can help them increase their productivity hugely. Two, there are people who are using this stuff, but they're using it wrong. And this happens in organizations, particularly where the company has said you cannot use AI. You need to go and help those companies, because what happens when you tell staff members they can't use AI is they will just bring their own. They'll roll their own ChatGPT and they'll bring their private account to work and start using it at work. The problem with that is data security. At least if a company embraces artificial intelligence and gets some basic training for their staff members and get some rules in place about what you can put into AI and what you can't put in AI. If that company has paid for enterprise accounts, etc., they have increased data security. So they need to engage with this and have some kind of positive, either saying, yes, we're using this, or no, we're not using this, but doing it from a point of education rather than a point of fear, which is where most people are. So I go and give workshops generally in the marketing industry, and I generally only do them overseas now. So like in the last few months I went to Vegas and talked in front of 500 people. I did Switzerland and Amsterdam. Is that it? Oh, and I was going to go to Thailand, but that didn't work, unfortunately, because it was at the same time as another thing. Anyway, but there's a huge amount of demand for people to go and teach artificial intelligence, not teaching how to build them, not teaching the engineering, but teaching the basics, like helping to break down barriers of fear and helping to get people started with some very basic, this is how you can use it, this is what you shouldn't use it for. It's a really big opportunity. So I personally charge about $1,500 per hour to go and teach US dollars. The most I've charged is $4,000 for 1 hour, which is mad. And I have students now who go and teach and they charge $1,000, $2,000 per hour. So there's a huge demand, and you do not need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to be able to explain to people in your industry why AI is important. So Techaroy, the fact that you have started a club and you're helping people to do this stuff is fantastic. I would also look at helping businesses because you can get paid very well and it is easy work. Oh, Cindy says, can you explain more about how you help charities? So I give workshops where I will go in and I will show staff members or members of the public how to use AI. So generally very basic stuff, because most people are not at the level of, you guys are sitting watching a live about artificial intelligence. That tells me that you know a lot about this already compared to the general public. Honestly, you go in and you give a workshop, you find out up front how people are using AI, what they use it for, if they're using it at all, and you can adjust the material. I give them a basic introduction about how to think about AI. Giving them the basics of prompt engineering. I don't call it that. I talk about communication, but and give them a framework to get better results from AI, and then show them the kind of tasks they can use AI on that it's very good at, versus, importantly, the tasks it's not very good at, and helping them to learn the difference between the two. And then we'll often work out a project that they can work on after the workshop. And sometimes in longer workshops, we will begin working on that with an exercise. The workshops really, though, are about them. They're about other people in the room acquiring the skill. It's not just you going up on stage and talking to them for an hour or 2 hours. That's boring. Nobody wants that. Instead, using AI is a skill. So it is really very exercise based. It's very interactive. So I will talk for a bit, then have them do an exercise and learn how to use AI in that sense. So I do this for businesses and get paid very well, but I also do it for charities because they also need this help and they can't afford for the training generally, or there are not enough people providing that training. So that's what I personally do. In order to find them, relatively simple, because it's free. I say, hey, I give AI trainings. Is this something that you would be interested in? And I just reach out to charities I want to work with. And generally the answer is yes. In fact, it's always been yes. No, that's not right. There was one who said no, but that was because they didn't want to use AI. They didn't want anything to do with AI, etc., which is hard for me to change. It's not up to me to change. Cool. Do you think, oh, Cindy, do you think you'll be able to run a workshop for those who want to start doing this part-time? Yes. Okay. I wasn't going to pitch anything, but I do. Okay. I do actually have something called the AI Workshop Kit. I get so much demand to go and give workshops myself that now I only take the paid workshops out overseas and I use it as a way to go and travel, basically. So I pick and choose ones I want. But because there was so much demand, what I started doing was licensing out my materials. So licensing my workshop slides, teaching people how to get clients, how to customize material, how to deliver, how to facilitate, how to deal with difficult questions and stuff like that. Like basically giving people a full package about the content that they're going to go and teach. I give them my slides. I teach them how to teach my slides, but also the business around that, like the pitch deck, the proposals, the how you do outreach, who you should be talking to get your first workshop, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I license all of that out to people, and it's called the AI Workshop Kit. We are launching the next one in September. So when is it? Oh, nearly in August. So in about 4 weeks' time, we're launching cohort number 5. We have just finished last Thursday. We finished cohort number 4. So it's a 4-week program where you get all the materials, and then once a week we have a live call with me. And there's also a self-paced course you can work through at your own time, plus all the resources like proposal documentations, pricing calculators, etc., like the whole business. So that is starting again in September. I don't come on this live to pitch, but if you are interested in that, the best place to get details is going to be on the newsletter. So the newsletter is free. There's a link in my bio. And when we are moving towards the launch, which will be in September, we'll post some details about how to join. And we generally have 30 to 50 people join us on each cohort, and everyone learns together. It's a really nice group as well, because we have people from all over the world. Like on the last live was on Thursday. We had somebody tune in from New Zealand, and I think it was 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning for him. And then we had other people in Florida and people in Europe and stuff like that. It's a cool group. And for whatever reason, really lovely people. I seem to attract nice people, which is, yeah, I love that. Cool. I am actually going to finish up. Oh, Cindy says, I'd love to join cohort 5 in September. Yeah, join the newsletter and we'll send you information there. Grace is saying, if only elite labs afford reasoning models, Global South and open communities left behind. Yeah. So this is the huge risk right now in artificial intelligence. Basically, there are 5 or 6 big players. There are not many companies on Earth who are capable of building frontier level based models. We've got Google, we've got OpenAI, we've got DeepSeek, we have Anthropic, we have xAI, and then we have Meta in a weird place because Meta do open source their models, which is cool. But beyond those 5 or 6, I think that might be it. I might be missing one. Microsoft. No, I'm not going to include Microsoft because they're built on OpenAI. And what they built on is not very good either. So I'm not even going to include Microsoft in here. And I'm not going to include Apple either because their AI is, non-existent and or terrible. Sorry. I haven't dunked on Apple for a while. I love Apple. Like, I'm full Apple everywhere, but they dropped the ball. So Grace is saying, if only these elite labs can afford the reasoning models, Global South and open communities are left behind. Absolutely. So this is the big risk, I think, right now, is not just the Global South and open communities, but people. Normal people are being left behind, and we are seeing potentially the most powerful technology we've ever seen in human history being concentrated into the hands of 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 billionaires. In some cases, it's extremely direct. So Elon Musk and xAI, that's an extremely direct link where it even started calling itself Musk the other day. So that is almost like a manifestation, a personification of one person. Terrifying. But even in Sam Altman's case, even if it's not modeled directly on him, even if it's not just his values, it's still his company, and his company train the human trainers for reinforcement learning. For example, they train the guidelines and the biases, etc. What can be said, what can't be said. We need those guidelines. This is not me arguing for total deregulation. It's not me talking about a neutral AI. I don't think there's anything that I don't think it exists, despite what Trump wants to say and Trump's AI plan. I don't think there's such a thing as a truly neutral AI because it depends on what material we give it and then the training. The main concern here is that any individuals have this amount of power. It doesn't matter who those individuals are. They could be the most benevolent dictators ever. They're still an individual. So I think that is the huge risk here. And currently, AIs are also being used to solidify this. They're being mainly used by white men. So people like me. We need to change that. We need to make sure that everyone has full access to this. We need to make sure that there are equal opportunities of access and also training so that people are not scared of this technology, so that people can leverage it, because otherwise it's being 20, 30 years ago and having a disparity in internet uptake, which we did have. When you give a productivity tool of this immensity to one group and they run off with it, they are going to economically open up a gap between people who are not using it. So I think it behooves us as people who are learning about AI, as people who are using AI in everyday situations, to go and teach. So I personally do paid workshops for companies, businesses. I charge a lot of money. Most is like $4,000 per hour, like good money for that. But then on the other side, I do pro bono work with charity, mainly for refugee and asylum seeking charities here in London, helping them to start to use AI tools in order to process applications, with language issues, with settling into the UK, etc., etc. If you are somebody who uses AI, I think you should also be helping other people to work this out, because we can't let a small handful, we're talking about tens or a couple of hundred people maximum, control this technology entirely. We need to make sure that everybody understands it and everybody's able to build with it and kind of keep up to date with what's going on, because it's pretty damn important.